Welcome to Inside Out. Thanks for checking it out. On today's podcast, I'm going to be talking to Kate Ovens about some of the insides and outs of being an influencer. Kate is a great food blogger and she does food challenges, and we're going to discuss a few of the things about not being able to post certain things. So I hope you really enjoy the talk, and check out and subscribe for more. Thank you. Okay.
Brilliant.
So we'll begin. Welcome to my kitchen, but welcome to.
It's beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. It's going to be called Inside Out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be obviously about sort of the ins and outs of being in social media and the bits that people don't really see, and the struggles of sort of a world that seems very easy and fun, but there's a lot more to it than I think a lot of people realise.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some background behind it, but we'll get into that a little bit later, I reckon.
Yes. So for those that don't know you, obviously you're Kate Ovens.
Yes,
Do you want to just talk a little bit about yourself? Obviously you've done this a million times, but
oh no, I don't mind. So hi, I'm Kate Ovens. I do mainly food and drink on sort of Facebook, Instagram. I think something that mainly people would know me for is the Man vs. Food challenges. Put videos out online. I do the big burgers, big pizzas. And yeah, that's pretty much my life achievements right there.
How did it all become a social media thing? Because obviously it had to start as just you messing around with food or eating big things. And then...
So it started, I probably stayed, if it were going to go right into it, probably when I was younger, I was a bit of a chubbier kid, but not the fat one in the class or anything, just a little bit on the heavier side. So I've always loved food, always been a big fan of it, never had that dream metabolism that everyone thinks I have. And then sort of turned about 16, 17, I was like, you know what, I'm going to lose the weight. So I did it, normal exercise, healthy eating, that sort of thing. Lost the weight, but my appetite just stayed exactly the same. You know, I was dieting and I was eating these salads and whatever, and just being I'm just so hungry. And then when I did allow myself to eat, I could, finish an entire Domino's pizza, large or whatever, and still be hungry afterwards. And then when I was studying at Newcastle University, it was my second year of uni, and I found this food challenge after watching Adam Richman's Man vs. Food online. Yeah. And I found this food challenge, and it was called the Gut Buster Challenge, and it was a 24-ounce cheeseburger, so really thick patties, cheese between each layer. You had sort of a handful of potato wedges and sort of a bit of garnish on the top, gherkin, tomato, that kind of stuff. And you had to finish this burger, and a milkshake as well, don't let me forget that. Had to finish it in 20 minutes. So brought 3 of my friends down with me. I was I really think I can do this. Yeah. So went down, finished it. So I was the only one to finish it in the time limit amongst my friends. Yeah. And the bell went as literally I was swallowing my last bite. And I had a before and after photo from it. Yeah. And I was so proud of it, and I put it on Facebook, and I think it got 40 likes, and I was awesome, this is brilliant, fantastic. I had a few comments being didn't realize you could eat that much, that kind of thing. Yeah. And then fast forward to about a year later, I was really bored I was working on placement at a spa, and I was really bored on a Sunday, and I was found this email address that came up saying writers@labbible.com, write to us if you think we've got a story. And I was I think this is actually worth a story. I mean, it's been a year, but, let's send it through. So I emailed them, and they emailed me straight back. And pretty much we were chatting on the Sunday. It was released. The story was posted on at 8 p.m. on the Monday. And it just went from there. It was sort of, it was just, my phone would just not stop going. Okay, and I was so excited. I'd just been at the cinema, and I was driving home from Basingstoke, and all I could feel was bloop, 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 on my phone. I was this is just the coolest. I don't think I've ever been so excited to get home and just sort of be on Wi-Fi and just go through everything that's been going on. And then I took about 6 or 7 months to actually make a Facebook page. Oh, okay, yeah. Because it was the kind of time where there was American YouTubers, and they were already, it was the Jenna Marbles, it was the Logan Pauls, that they were very well established. But in the UK, there was no one really. And I was don't really want to be the first. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not ready to put myself out there. Like, this was the time where the front camera just got put on the phone.
Okay,
and
yeah.
like selfies were an embarrassing thing. So so I wasn't really ready to put myself like completely out there and have a page. But after a couple of friends convinced me, I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. And yeah, I got a lot of stick right at the beginning. I got a lot of stick.
Yeah.
But it's all worked out in the end, I guess.
Amazing.
So that's again, you're getting a whole life story, you're getting a whole background check.
So obviously when you sent off the to Lad Bible, did you have other food stuff on your page, or was it I
Didn't have a
do
page.
I went all the way back to your feed.
Yeah.
I've got some questions.
Okay, oh God.
But were you posting many of the challenges or anything, or was it until 6 months later that you actually sort of...
I don't think so. I think around the time that was happening, I was working 2 jobs. I was working on my placements. I was doing Monday to Friday marketing for a spa. And at the weekends, I was playing Elsa as a children's entertainer. So I think it was around that time, actually. So probably across my page was me dressed as Elsa. So
Yeah, that's
it was
what I was
probably
gonna bring up.
incredibly confusing.
That was one of the things I was going to bring up. When did you realise that you do this full time, right?
Yes, no, I do it full time.
So when did you realise you can make a living from it? When did you? What was the point where you went? Oh,
So when I left uni, I did give myself like a massive break afterwards. I found uni incredibly difficult. Gave myself a massive rewarding summer of holidays and fun and things like that. And then I think it got to around about December, and Lad Bible were approaching me. They were like, oh, we want you to present like more videos with us. And I was like, great, that sounds fantastic, but actually I really need like a full-time job now. So we started talking, and they could actually offer me a full-time role.
Okay, yeah.
So I went in, did that, and sort of 6 months in, I realized I was still getting so many through my own kind of stuff. It was like, I don't know, it just kind of all came at once, and it was a very scary move, to be honest, because I'd only just moved to London.
Yeah.
I'd already just like sort of cemented the house and the flat that we were living in. Probably not the wisest of decisions to like leave Lad Bible whilst just sorting out a place in London.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I think it's just when you have like a feeling, you think, okay, well, if I give this a go, if not, I can, I've got backup plans. I used to be a waitress. I used to, do the kids entertaining. I could easily go back into that. So I was like, if it all ends up I still have that as my like backup. I'm like, if this all ends, badly, at least I can go back into something. But yeah, it was just kind of like a bit of a, let's just see how this goes. I had a few jobs kind of withhold me for about a month and a half, 2 months. I was like, okay, that's fine for now, but I need to, really push to find more work. And yeah, I think I've just got very, very lucky, to be honest.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about, because you posted a story, you went to Mexico, and obviously you had a great time there, and there were some things you wanted to post, but obviously because of your niche, and you feel everyone, I think, especially me, everyone sort of feels a bit tied into their niche and to stay relevant in the like algorithms and all that.
Yeah.
That's just something I wanted to sort of discuss with you about. Sort of, how do you feel about the idea that you can't really post what you want to post as such?
No, I do struggle with it actually, because some of the stuff that I wanted to post from Mexico was just like the views and the sunsets, and sort of pretty much if you look at my feed on Instagram, it's pretty much just pictures of either me or food, or me with food.
Yeah.
Sort of, there's not exactly the most diversity, but there was engagement on stories and stuff, so people were interested, but it was like, it was me and my friends, and then there was food, so it kind of was still on theme.
Yeah.
But there was sort of this one particular picture, which was this, it's a cenote, which is basically like a giant cave with like a lagoon at the bottom almost, is the best way I could describe it. And it was beautiful. It was like, there's a big hole in the ceiling, and then there's like a bit of light that just like pierces down through the cave, and it's like a spotlight, and it looks amazing. And I just wanted to post that because I was like, this is beautiful and stuff. And then the back of my head, I'm just thinking, oh gosh, this is not going to do as well because people won't recognize like that it's me posting.
Yep.
It's like, well, she's not in it, or there's no food here, like no point, or something like that.
Yep.
And then, like you were saying, you know, algorithms and engagement going down, then I'm thinking, oh God, I've got clients, you know, when I get back, it's like, if my pictures aren't doing well, then, you know, the algorithm's going to attack it, which means that I'm going to get less clients. And it's just, I mean, this is really overthinking stuff because you think this is just one picture. Surely it can't make that big of a difference. But, I mean, I was like, you know what? I've just got to care less about it. And I posted it. And actually, it didn't do too badly. I was quite pleased with it. But yeah, it's quite that kind of do I, don't I? Does it, you know, just because it makes me happy, will it kind of reflect in when it's like your actual job?
Yeah,
I think that's where the stress comes a bit more because you're thinking, right, it's always got to be, you know, on like, you know, let's keep growing it, keep growing it, like growing a business. But you know, when it's you as well, it's trying to, I can't really explain it, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I think because what I was sort of finding is obviously you've got your when clients look at your page and stuff, you've got the sort of the average amount of likes you get. So say you'll go with, if you get 1,000 per picture and then you post one that gets 200, your average dramatically drops in comparison to, so you'll be saying, oh, well, you didn't get 1,000 for this, so your average isn't 1,000 and that kind of thing. And then clients come along and
it's a lot of overthinking.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm sure people listening to this will literally say the exact same thing. It's just like, you are overthinking this too much, and that's why I posted it, and that's why I'm trying to post like more pictures with me with friends and things like that, because I'm trying to care less about the likes and engagement, because it literally is just an overthinking game, and I think you can kind of really drive yourself mental, like sort of through overthinking it. So but I've only started doing it recently, so I can't really be starting to preach that much or anything. It's everyone doing it their own way, and you know, if it works for them, it works for them.
So how do you feel about the have you ever taken a break from Instagram at all?
Oh yeah, I think last September, I think it was, I think I posted like 3 times that month. Okay. I wasn't personal stuff, I wasn't really feeling myself at all, and I just stepped away. Recently I took like a week off because I was like, oh, you know, I just wanted to kind of get away from it all and everything. So I don't actually mind stepping away from stuff. For me, that's no problem at all. Like, some people think that like if they don't post like every day, that they'll lose the algorithms and things like that. But I'm like, I don't know enough about algorithms to talk about them that much. But I find the more frequent I post, actually, the less likes I get. So I'm like, you know, if I take a break and everything, then all of a sudden I pop back up. Yeah. If anything, I think my stuff does better. So
okay, there you go. Yeah, so because I found that if I don't post, mine slowly drops down, and so I think it obviously is just
it just depends, I guess,
which person, which niche you're in, sort of what you're.
I don't know, to be honest, because I always find it exciting when people are off the grid, and I'm like, what are they doing? Like, I want to know more. Why is it so secret?
Yeah.
And but I guess it just works differently for each person, and some people it works brilliantly for posting, you know, sometimes some people 2 times a day and stuff, whereas if I posted 2 times a day, I think people would actually come after me and just be like, can you please shut up?
So do you think it's a case of that a lot of influencers and people in social media need to sort of care a little bit less about the ins and outs of it all and just sort of enjoy it a bit more?
I mean, I think enjoying it is a massive part of it, because it's just like, what's the point in doing it if it doesn't make you somewhat happy at some point in the week? Like, you know, I'm not expecting everyone to be happy every moment of the day on it, but if you're really not enjoying it, for instance, that last September, I was like, I just wasn't enjoying stuff going on by myself. So I was like, you know what, I don't really want to post about stuff being like, oh, you know, this went great and this is great. And I'm just like, no, it really wasn't. But like, I don't know, I feel like each individual person is very different, because some people really invest a lot of their time into it, and it's more about maybe like not even to like do with them personally, so they can do it almost like as a job rather than it being all about them specifically.
Yeah.
So like I know a lot of the foodie guys, and that's what I'm going to use as an example. Like some people don't put their faces in their page at all.
Yeah.
So maybe it feels more of a job than an actual personal sort of face, just because it's not your face like properly. But I just think it's individual preference. I don't really know, to be honest. I can't really, I don't feel like I can speak on behalf of everyone else, but I'm personally trying to care less, which I still find difficult. So
where did you want to take it all? What's the end goal? Are you happy with it just being as it is, or
I do have a few ideas for like more video series and things like that, and I'm actually trying to get stuff sorted. I've got a call later today. Actually, I need to actually ring him today. That's been a good reminder. I've got a call with a friend today, and we're trying to organize something where it's like a bit more of like a series, and I've got some ideas around like sort of food and like sort of the football and things like that. I've got some plans, but it's also, you know, as you're aware, very well aware, videographers. Yes. It's obviously I'm in the freelance world as well. I would never ever expect anyone to do anything for free. So it's trying to find the money worth investing into it and doing it properly in the exact way that you want it to be shown and things like that, whilst paying that person. And I'm like, you know, if I'm looking at like a 12-part series, it's expensive. So it's just trying to put aside the money and do it like at the right time in the exact right way and having it a bit more mapped out. So it'd be more like videos and things. I don't have any like, you know, that's probably like a 5-year goal. Yeah. Maybe even a 2-year. But like, you know, some people have like 5, 10, 20, life plans. I'm there like, I don't know. Haven't really got that far.
Just seeing where it sort of takes you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky to be where I am at the minute, and you know, I've always had the ethos of like, if it all ended tomorrow, had a great run. You know, I'll go back to being a waitress tomorrow. So yeah, no, it's fine.
So is there, obviously you do a lot of food challenges, which is one can take a toll on you anyway, and then let alone you want to stay, you don't want to become a huge sort of person. Does that take a toll on you? Because obviously I'm guessing you work out a lot to try and keep it, or not so much.
I'd love to preach working out at the minute, but I've been so terrible because this whole summer has been filled with holidays, which have been great, fantastic, had the best time ever. So like I've been only recently, like just came back from Mexico. That was 10 days of purely eating Mexican food, which was amazing, and lying on a beach. So I'm like, again, amazing. Did not bring any trainers with me or anything like that. I had no plan on doing anything. And then I recently just got back from Philadelphia, which was again food and drink to heart's desire. Like
which looked incredible.
My inner 10-year-old was beaming of just like, you don't even have to care about this, you can just eat whatever. And I was like, this is the best trip ever. But again, did not bring trainers with me, did not plan on like running or working out. But now that I'm back, I'm trying to eat healthier and sort of get back more into the swing of things. But it's hard, you know, sort of, I have quite a flexible job, whereas, you know, the everyday 9-to-5ers probably look at me and think, my God, you've got all this time, why don't you do it? And I'm like, because I'm lazy. And I'm like, if you can have like an actual full day job and everything, and like, you know, sort of I've some of my audience, like they have kids, they've got families. It's just like, if you can balance that, social life, personal hobbies, and then fit the gym in, you should all be getting freaking awards. Like, I don't know how people do this. So like, I struggle just because I'm trying to settle back into, you know, back in the UK, want to sort of do a bit more and actually sort of start working on the things that I was mentioning earlier. But also it's just sort of doing it in my own stride, because I'd love to, you know, be at the top of my fitness game like I was back at uni. I was very well behaved at uni. Now not so much. It's really hard. So yeah, try my best at the moment, but at the same time my whole job revolves around food and drink. So I've got quite a few events on this week, and I'm just going to be eating and drinking the entire week. Next week I'm looking after my parents' dogs, so I've got a whole week of chilling and, you know, getting a bit more back into it. So it's just balance, just trying your best.
How do you find balancing? Because it's just that it's a freelance sort of life. How do you find balancing it all, sort of figuring it all out? And are you an organised person, or are you?
Yeah, I live my life by my calendar. So like everything gets, it's like if I've spoken to you and said, okay, can we meet up this day, this time? I'm like, boom, it's in the calendar. I don't struggle with it much, to be honest. It's just trying to find a place for everything. I think just like anyone else would, when you get like your work calendar, and it would be like, right, I've got 2 p.m. meeting here, then I've got this to go to here, and then I've got to get over here. It's kind of like that, but I won't lie to you, mine is too much fun to even call a job, so I'm not going to sit here and say it's hard, because it's not.
Do you handle all the business side of everything, or do you have a manager, or is it?
I used to, yeah. I've got a manager now, so he gets all like the emails that come through and everything. But because I made so many contacts, because I've been doing it by myself for 2 years, I still have like people emailing me, and I'm just like kind of forwarding them over and stuff. So there's still like a tiny bit of admin left on my side, but even then it's not a lot. So they pretty much sort out everything else, and I'm just kind of like, it's kind of freed up my time to be able to work on more video, and it makes me feel even lazier because I'm not doing it yet. But I'm happy to admit that.
But it's made your life a lot easier, has it? What obviously with the food challenges, has there ever been one that you've had to turn down because it's been just, that's not doable? Or...
I will never name and shame companies or anything, but recently I was contacted by a company, and the thing is, it's really hard to like badmouth, because it's like, I've heard very, very mixed reviews of this place. I've heard them mistreating like people, like my friends who've gone in there before. People like, people have said the food's really like bang average, or like, not tasty at all. And it's just, they're like, it's not worth, it's like, I've got so many amazing food vendors who are like sort of small businesses, and like people I'm chatting to where they're happy to make like a bigger version of their amazing food, that I'm like, I'd rather do stuff like that and actually be like, this is a place worth publishing, rather than this kind of gimmicky, anywhere can do a food challenge, anywhere, any cafe, any restaurant, they can do it as a promotional thing. Doesn't mean the food is actually good and worth paying that amount of money for. So I'd rather it be, my friends that I've made in the food business, where it's like, I know their food is amazing, and when people sort of see the challenge and think, oh, if they like walk past it in London, they're like, oh, I think that girl like did that challenge there, maybe let's go try it and see what it's like. It's just because they recognize it. I'd rather work for people like that, and especially like the small businesses as well. It's just it's nice to kind of be nice, essentially. So and then, I mean, these guys that contacted me, they're not big, but I'm sure that people would have heard of them, and it's just like, it may be different now, like the food may be different, the management may be different, but I would need to hear more from other people, rather than just kind of being like, yeah, I'll do it, let's work together. It's just, I don't know, I need to hear some more positive comments, basically.
Do you have any pet peeves in terms of the social media things? Is there anything that annoys you?
People buying likes drives me insane, because I'm like, I know a couple of people who, I say a couple, actually one of them stopped doing it. I've noticed like her likes have gone from like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 to 1,000. I'm like, right, there we go. That's exactly what you should be getting. But what annoys me more is, I have a lot of friends who, would like, and I get contacted, every week, sort of saying, I'm started up a page. How do you break into the industry? Could you give me some tips? And I'm like, there are people out there paying for likes, paying for followers, and paying for their engagement, and they're getting paid to do stuff, or they're going on free trips. And I'm like, then there are these guys who really just love what they want to do, and they can't break into the industry because the algorithms are hard and difficult, and it's really hard to like stand out at everything. And I just see these two in contrast, and usually these people, like, they pretend to care about what they do, when actually they're just there for the free stuff, or like, the trips or anything, or getting paid. And I'm like, there are people who really care about this stuff, and then there's, and that's why it really drives me nuts, because I'm like, it's just not authentic at all. Like, I'm very lucky to be where I am, and I'm very lucky that I've got all the opportunities that I have. but I like to think that, you know, even if you can't see it in my likes, you can see it in my comments. It's like you can see everyone, you know, chatting, and, you know, I've had people like actually communicate between each other as well, like without even my input or anything. And I reply back to all my comments because I actually really, you know, one, I've got the time to, which is again something I really appreciate, and two, I actually just like talking to everyone, and it's like it's a nice feeling. And I don't know, I've like, you know, I love hearing when people sort of say to me, you know, oh, I went to this restaurant, it was amazing and stuff like for me that just, you know, and then replying back being like, that's fab, and like tagging the restaurant and being like, look, you know, so and so went to this restaurant, had a brilliant time. It may not be in TripAdvisor, but it's on my comment section on my Instagram. So yeah, it's just, I think buying likes and followers just drives me nuts. And it's just not fair to, not personally me, like, you know, I couldn't give a wally or whatever. It's more for the smaller accounts that are wanting to do this, and they're doing it, you know, authentically and stuff. And it's just, they're like, you know, what if you just told them, oh, just go buy a load of followers and buy a load of likes and you'll probably get into the industry? It's like, it's just not right at all.
Going on from that, is there, what tips would you give someone that wants to try and start it, or is it just...
It's really difficult now because, you know, I'd love to just be like, be unique. And I'm like, it's so hard to be unique now because everything's being done. And, you know, if your passion is makeup, if your passion is food, if your passion is football, if your passion is, you know, whatever, there's someone else out there doing it as well. Like when I first started, there wasn't anyone in the UK doing it. But there was a guy around America called Randy who was going around the whole of America doing it. I was like, but you know, he was like one, and then there was a few other people in America that I hadn't, you know, I think I got lost in Randy's videos. I knew there were other people, but I think I just got so lost in like Randy's stuff that that's just where I kind of got my enthusiasm from. But like now, I mean, to be honest, I just be like, get into food challenges. There's only about 4 of us in the UK, so that's still quite niche, I guess. I've thought about this like a few times, to be honest, and I genuinely don't know, because I'd love to just say like, be yourself, but you know, sometimes that's actually not enough, and and it's frustrating, and you've just got to find something that like works for you. So like one of my friends recently that I used to work with, he started doing on his stories, like, bear in mind he's only got like, you know, 200 followers or something, but he does like really boring traffic updates. So be there, like, you know, imagine that you've got like 5 cars waiting in front of you or whatever, and you're sat on the bus, and he like takes a picture of it, and he's just like, damn, like, you know, avoid this road, really bad today, like, you know. And he's made that's been like he does traffic updates, but it's like stupid traffic updates where like no one needs updating. But I guess I probably don't have the best advice, so I don't really want to say too much, because I don't actually know what would be a way of like breaking into the industry. I mean, best way to do it, for the sounds of it, is join Love Island. Get 200,000 followers overnight, apparently.
Do you think you'll do this forever?
No. I think I'll be incredibly lucky if I get away with this forever. You know, I think it's given me some amazing opportunities, and I think one of the greatest things for me was like when I struggled a lot at university. I had a group of incredibly clever girlmates. They all came out with firsts, and you know, they already had grad jobs before they even like entered 4th year, kind of thing. And then there was me getting like rejected from every single place, and it just, it was, you know, your ego's through the floor. You're like, I'm so stupid and everything, and you know, it's trying to get all the extra work experience, and then it's like, you know, you have to give it for free, and then people can't afford to just give away like a month's work of experience away for free, because they can't, you know, they literally can't afford to not get paid. And it's like, there's so many hard ways of doing it. And I think the proudest thing for me is like, after getting rejected by like everyone, I've actually started getting like approached by the companies that rejected me for grad schemes. Great. And I'm like, yeah, tables have turned. And so that was like quite a big an achievement for me, because I did business marketing and management at uni. So I'd like to hope that I've met a lot of marketing teams and, you know, PR and things like that I could maybe slot somewhere, probably near the bottom, probably not anywhere like high or anything, but sort of slot into some company and hope for the best, but I've also got my backup plan of that, which is again like, you know, I could go back to kids entertaining, I could go back to waitressing, I could go back to, you know, I work kind of behind the bar, but I can't really say that because it was in Newcastle and it was a trebles bar, so I poured like 2 pints in my whole time working there. And I can't even tell you how many trebles I've poured. Like God knows how many, but so I can't exactly say bar experience, but you know, for an interview I probably can.
Why'd you keep doing it? What, other than obviously that you need to live?
I still love it just as much as when I started. I'm trying to get back into loving it more because I went through, I think it was last year, I was like, I'm not doing anything without getting paid and everything. And then this year I've taken a real step back, you know, trying not to be, I'm just thinking of the words, but just trying not to be like up my own arse basically about it, and you know, go back to the places where I love and the people that I really respect and love working with, and luckily that's paid off for me in a good way anyways. And I don't know, I think maybe it's just play it by ear, I guess. I really I genuinely don't know what to expect, to be honest. I think I'm incredibly lucky that I'm doing it now, and I'm one of the very few people in the food industry who do it full time. And I would love more and more of the food industry to get into it more full time, because like they're all my mates. It's great. But yeah, it's just see how it goes and appreciating everything along the way, I guess.
I think it's because it's still developing as a whole. Well, we all don't know where it's going. I continue to this day to say that I was incredibly like potluck with I just was a kid that wanted to make films and take pictures, and I didn't care where that was going to end up. And then social media. Did
you do like a course or anything?
I did a film at school basically, and then I went to college and didn't want to do anything else, so I did a BTEC in literally just film. And then I went to uni for film, and then came out, and luckily, just by pure coincidence, social media decided that video and photography was going to be needed a lot. So
that's the thing. It's sort of, you know, it does work out at some point. I don't want to be one of those like cliche statements, because it doesn't, you know, not everyone's path is exactly the same. So I struggled the entire way through uni. I had some really like, you know, I say ups and downs, but like lots of downs as well. And I failed one module in first year, I had to retake it. Luckily went through to second year. Second year, I failed a module again. I then failed the retake, and I had to do basically an extra like year of just one module. I was so embarrassed because all my girls were getting firsts and everything, and I didn't want to be that one person who failed. So I spoke to the uni, and they were like, because I was like, can I hide it in my placement year? So whilst I'm working in industry, can I do the exam without having to like tell anyone basically? So I did that. So whilst I was on placement, I think it was like the main, it was like, you have literally one chance left to get this right. If you don't get this right, you don't go back to uni in fourth year. Luckily I passed it, and then I had to like work my arse off. I literally lived in the library every single day to make up, because I was like, I have so much to make up now. And I didn't tell my girls until I only told my flatmate. I'd probably say we'd graduated for about 9 months, and that was like we were out on an event, and I got a little bit drunk, and I was like, I kind of let something slip, and she was like, what? I was like, yeah, I failed second year, and she was like, what? She had no idea. So like, and again, people have gone through their own struggles. I struggled academically, but some people had like different kind of ways, and you know, things luckily have worked out for me. I may not be the smartest person in the room. My mum's always said, it was like, she's always told me like growing up, it's like you're one of two smarts. You're either like street smart or you're academic smart. And I was like, oh crap, I'm neither of those then. I was like, I'm just an idiot. But then I realized that my thing is like, I'd say it's probably more people. Sort of being able to find something in common with absolutely anyone. I'm not saying that I get on with absolutely everybody, because I think that would be incredibly naive of me. But it's more like just trying to find that one thing that you have in common, and just, you know, even if it's like literally the one minuscule thing, you think, gosh, we have absolutely nothing in common, you will be able to find at least one thing, and just kind of trying to figure out how much you can get out of that topic, basically.
I think that's a really good point of not to worry too much about, because I still think the school system is very bizarre.
It's so pressured.
Especially for, I suffer from ADHD and dyslexia, so and we didn't find that out until well into, I was just a weird kid basically.
Oh, bless you.
So it was just like, I think find what you're good at and just aim for it is a big...
It's really hard though through the education system, because obviously, you know, you get like your 10 GCSEs and it's a bit like, you know, for instance, you've ended up in like sort of film and everything. I don't know how sort of, because at my school we didn't have that as like an option at all, and it's just a bit like, you know, if you're not doing great in all these 10 GCSEs, you just think you're stupid. And you know, it's trying to show that there's other avenues and trying to like almost, you know, I went back to my old school and I pretty much said it was there like, guys, if you don't know what you're doing, don't worry, I'm 25 and I still don't know what I'm doing. So like, you know, try not to panic too much. Don't think you're stupid. Just work as hard as you can, you know, put in the effort. Because I've realized that my friends could, you know, be in the library for like 3 hours and produce an amazing piece of work. I could be in the library for 14 hours and still produce less work than them, because I just was procrastinating all the time. And, you know, I didn't watch Game of Thrones because I was like, if I watch Game of Thrones, I was like, Facebook and Instagram are already taking over my life. If you put a series in there which has been keeping people up till 5 a.m, I will never get anything done. So and it's just sort of just telling everyone to like just try your absolute best. That's all anyone could ask of you. But the education system, it just doesn't show. They almost need to kind of like show more extracurricular activities to show you that there are other avenues of doing things, and there are other ways of like getting jobs. You don't have to get an A in science and, you know, to be successful or anything. I mean, just try your absolute best. It's literally the best. It's the most anyone could ever ask. Yeah,
because I think there was one thing that upset me a little bit about hearing about my school. So obviously, when I was younger, I was there was a really great teacher that came up to me and she said, "You suck at English.
Bit harsh.
Do you want to come into my film studies thing?" So I went into like the year above's film studies thing, and then I was doing that. So they only did it for year 10 and year 11. So I did that instead of, and only did like half of English instead. So I did that. But now they've completely got rid of the film studies thing.
Oh really?
Which is,
and that's something that like would have like has impacted you completely.
Yeah, completely. I was going to become a hairdresser originally.
Oh really?
Yeah. So
do you want to work on this?
So she was like, I made some short films while I was there. She was like, "You cannot become a hairdresser. You're too good." At
least she saw the potential in everything.
And then she was like, "You're going off to college. You're doing this," because I was like, "I don't want to do school."
She saw something in you, and it's like you're getting yourself so stressed out about something that, you know, I mean, English obviously is still very important, but at the same time, it's like, I don't think I've ever had to analyse a poem in the last 10 years. So.
Yeah, and then they, because the teachers are incredible, but I think the system is a bit flawed in terms of they were getting me to do 2 languages, and I struggle with the one language I'm already meant to know. So we got rid of that, and then I did the film and
it's
photography.
It's a shame that they've got rid of it. Like, was there any reasoning behind it, or was it like budget cuts?
Not sure. I just heard my mum spoke to somebody and they said, they've got rid of the film studies, which is crazy to think that
it's
course
a whole
is the
career out
entire
there.
reason that I
don't know. I think, and also it's so bizarre because like, you know, if you ask kids now, I think there's an actual statistic that it's like, if you ask a kid, what do you want to be when you're older, and 70% of them say YouTuber. And it's just, they're like, well, that involves film work and stuff like that. And
film work, photography, you've got graphic designers. I don't think they teach marketing until you're very far in, which is
we didn't get marketing until sixth form, I'm pretty sure. And like some schools that I heard, they did business studies as a GCSE.
I did business studies as a GCSE.
I'm jealous because I really wish, because apparently it's basically a repeat on A level. Like you do A level and it pretty much is a repeat on GCSE, but a little bit more intense. And I was like, because we had a couple of people move from different schools and they did business GCSE and they knew everything, and I was like, oh, I'm so jealous.
It wasn't from what I remember, it wasn't really the stuff you sort of really needed to know now. It was quite a lot more, it was a lot more technical, and not really about the fun side of building a business, which obviously over the past 2 years I've been building my company, which is a fascinating like world.
Yeah, I mean, so I think it was the first time I got, like when I got my accountant, I was like, oh my God, this is a real thing.
Yeah. And hiring people and paying people, that's like, oh, okay, this really is a thing, people depending on me to like pay them and stuff.
Yeah, it's just that I've never sort of, I don't know about you, but I've never seen myself as a boss.
No,
like, ever, you know, being in charge of anything. I'm like, I can't, you know, I'm a very, I'm just trying to think of the word other than pathetic human being, basically. Just a pathetic human being.
Because I think if you turn around to a few of like my old school teachers and stuff like that and said to them, oh, Russ will be directing 20 people crews and telling them where to be, and he's going to be the one organising it all.
They wouldn't believe you.
Yeah, they'd go, something's going to fall off of that wagon.
Yeah.
Something's definitely going to fall off. But
I don't know. I don't know about you, but like the people that I went to school with, they're sort of the ones that was like, you know, not everybody, I won't count everyone in this, but it's like there are a few people you think, wow, they're going to be so promising. They're so, you know, they're so confident in everything they do. They're clever. They're funny. They're part of, you know, like the popular crowd. The teachers love them. They're the life and soul and everything. And then you leave school and you never hear anything from them, or, you know, I'm not saying that you need to update your life on social media daily or anything like that, but you just, you know, they almost like drop off the face of the earth and you don't really know what's going on. Then when you do, it's like, oh, they're just like staying in the, again, nothing wrong with this at all. I feel like I don't want to sort of push any buttons by saying it sounds like a wrong thing to do, but it's just sort of, you know, and then like you know, I've got some friends who, I only left school with pretty much three friends, and that was about it. Like I get on with people, but I'd say 3 friends that I still meet up with, and everyone's doing like exactly what they want to do. But we were like, you know, we just stayed in our own like little group and everything. I don't think anyone in my year would have believed what I'm doing now. Like, no, I didn't, so I'm sure they wouldn't. But all the the girls that I've like left with and everything, everyone's doing these like amazing things, even though they weren't the like, you know, the most confident person in the class, the smartest person in the class. They're just doing something that, like you say, you find like your niche and you just work on it, and it may not be something that's in the academic system already. So, you know, growing up at school, you don't feel like you're going to be successful or anything because you don't excel in these like certain, you know, specific subjects. And you just say like, you know, oh gosh, I'm terrible at Latin, but I'm a great teacher. Yeah. You know, it's like you just won't know that kind of thing. And it is quite a shame that like the academic system, I mean, obviously it's there in place for that, you know, for a purpose to see if people can find their own way. And it's, you know, there's obviously, you know, knowledge behind the whole system, but at the same time it would be great to kind of see, to show that there is more than just that. And school is like a hard one. I mean, just to get into this industry, you must feel the same. It's, you know, the whole thing is just there like, oh, it's like you need it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And you just think, my God, this phrase has been used for years, and it's still a thing. It still really is much a thing, but there's no way to get into it. Like, how do you start? So I went back to my old school. I pretty much laid out all the contacts that I had across that I'd worked with and everything, and people that I'd done work for. I just laid them there, and it was a bunch of, they were year 10 to year 10, year 11, and I think it was 6th form. And I just said to them, I was like, guys, look at the list of companies. If you like the looks of any of them, like, here's my email address. Feel free to get in touch. If you really are keen, I can give you like a, you know, I can message my friend and be like, hey, this person really wants to know about something. You couldn't by any chance do them like a day of work experience, or if there's like a way that they can kind of, you know, is there a good application thing? Is there a good time to do it? It's like, if they prove that they're keen, and if you can prove you're keen, especially at that age, which, you know, you've got so much going on at that time and everything, it can be difficult, because I didn't apply myself to anything, and look where I ended up getting no grad jobs or anything like that. But I just sort of like, I wanted to be that jump between like, you know, I am now part of the industry and I do know all these people, but how the hell do you start? So I'm like, you know, going back to my old school, like, I'm trying to help you start if you want to, because no one else helps really, and it's hard.
Yeah, no, that's what, through uni and everything, it was always who you know.
I know, and it shouldn't be the case.
And they always push that as you're basically, it's not going to happen.
Screwed right from the beginning.
But I guess you've just got to have the mentality a little bit like I did. Well, if it's who you know,
I'll go out and find the people.
I'll find them. I'll get to know them.
I mean, it's literally
or I'll
like,
become that person that you want to know.
Well, it's literally like there's one story that I'm actually quite proud of, to be honest. So not that everyone would have this opportunity, but you know, it just shows that you don't have to have necessarily an in, for instance.
Yep.
So I got the opportunity to meet the CEO of KFC, an
Okay.
amazing guy called Roger Eaton. And mainly the reason why we bonded for about, I'm going to say, a good 5 minutes. Found out he was a Fulham fan. So I'm a
Okay.
Fulham fan as
Yep.
well. And I was like, as if I'm in the middle of Texas talking to the CEO of KFC, who is South African, basically talking about our love for Fulham. I was like, what is going on? But we joked and I said, it'll be great to go to a game with you and things like that. Fast forward about 2 months in, and never got a business card from him, never got a phone number, never got anything. So I was like, right, that was my opportunity gone. And then 2 months later, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go through Google. So I went onto Google, literally typed in and was like, Roger Eaton, CEO, KFC, email address. Literally as bog standard basic as that. And I typed it in and it came up with this email, and it was the most basic one. I was like, this is not going to work. It's definitely going to bounce back to me. And it went through. 12 hours later, he messaged me back and he was like, hey, yeah, no, it'd be great to go to a Fulham game with you. I'm actually going to the one, Crystal Palace in 2 weeks. It'd be great to catch up for a beer beforehand. So 2 weeks later, I'm having a beer with the CEO of KFC in the UK before the Fulham game. And that was just through randomly typing in, the email address and stuff like that. Not necessarily saying that's going to work every time.
Yeah.
But it was the same with Lab Bible. I was like, writers at labbible.com, what are the chances they're going to reply back? Probably slight, but they did.
Yeah.
And they're probably more likely now because they're trying to find any story on absolutely anything. Whereas that time it was like, everyone wanted to be featured. They were filtering through God knows how many. It was like lucky if you got picked. Whereas now they're probably a bit less fussy, I think, because there's so many people working for them. But it's like, for me, some of these big opportunities literally came out through sending an email.
Yeah.
And, there's no face behind it. There's no, I guess in that Roger Eaton case, there was, I'd met him before and everything. But the Lab Bible one, that was my whole career started there. And it was just because I got on really well with the guy that emailed me back.
Yep.
I was like, you know what, this is a good connection. Maybe let's try and keep this going. Now he's a friend of mine and we've been friends for years. And, he was the one that introduced me to the rest of the guys there and stuff like that. And it's just, just applying yourself, even if it is literally getting an email. I mean, placements and grad schemes, I got so many ignored emails.
Yep.
So I get that side of it as well. And it drove me insane because you're just there like, could you not just send me a rejection letter so I could just forget about it? But it's hard. But I feel like just keep applying yourself. Try not to let it get you down. If it does get you down, take yourself away from it for a little bit, because I have done this with placement, and you get to maybe applying to about 40 places, you've had about 6 rejections and then no replies from anyone else. It does drive you insane. So take a week away. You don't just start applying, because you'll end up just kind of applying through tears. So take the step away, make sure that you're sort of mentally okay and everything, and then just try again. It's trial and error, I guess, the whole way through, and just trying your best really, and applying yourself, and again hoping for the best.
And I think those things sometimes develop onto other things. Like, I've had some things where there was one time I applied for a job, this before I went freelance. Then at the time they couldn't afford sort of the wage that needed to sort of get me in. But then a few years later, they came back to me out of the blue, sort of saying, "Oh, you've gone freelance. Do you want to? We loved your work back then.
Oh, amazing.
Do you want to do work for us now?" Cause
and then they can afford the actual.
They can afford like the day rate or whatever like that. So I think there's a lot of keeping just sort of in touch with people. Like the first job I ever had was with the Jewelry Channel, which is tele shopping.
Oh, okay.
So I used to make adverts for them, and still to this day, the last 3 weeks I've been working with them.
Oh, brilliant.
Back with them as just freelancing. So it's just keeping the
relationships,
touch with people.
Isn't it? And it's sort of, you don't have to be on like their back every single day. I mean, if you can, even like I've done this whole thing, like pretty much I'd say the first year of going freelance, I can't tell you how many coffees I've had. Yeah. Because you just kind of say, like, even if you've got absolutely no you just like you don't have any ideas to like give them. It's just more like, hi, I'm still here. You send them an email, you're like, hey, it'd be really good to catch up, have a coffee, because they may not have thought of you as the first person. They may already have a roster of people they know about, but because you've taken the time to be like, hey, would love to meet up for a coffee, you're not asking them for anything. You're sort of saying like, you know, if you've got anything coming up in the next few months, I'm right here and I'm free and I'm available to do it. And like, I just remember the first year I was just out for coffees constantly. And you never know what things could amount to, because it's a bit like, you know, it's like you may not be perfect for like that one job, but they may have a friend within, again, it's within the industry. So it's like they could pass you on to someone else. It's, you know, it is still hard to get through that door, but it's just trying to apply yourself as best you can and try not to get too downhearted when you get rejected a fair few times.
Yes, yeah. I think it's also the idea of or just keeping it friendly rather than do you have a job for me?
Yeah.
Is
I don't think that method
no
would
one
ever...
wants to. Yeah, I get a lot of emails that
really?
are like that.
Just be like, I just want a job.
Yeah, I do have a job for me, or I'm happy to go for a coffee, have a chat,
and just sort of see what way it could be like what works in their best strengths as well. You can find out that they're particular in this certain area, and you think actually that would work really well with this that I'm doing, and it's just trying to, you know, I mean, it's even as simple as, you know, if you do get on really well with them, you feel like they're a mate of yours almost. It's literally like the odd, you know, getting them on Facebook or something. I know that's very like millennial and things like that, but it's like if you do, you know, you see their like holiday pictures and they'd be like, oh my gosh, it looks like you're having an amazing time. Would be great to catch up when you're back.
Yes.
Like stuff as simple as that. You know, I know that is a bit more millennial, I guess, but you know, it's worked for me in the past. So,
do you work? Is it 24 hours, 7 days a week? Do you restrict yourself to a...
I would say I probably still work a more like 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, just because everyone that I work with does. So I don't particularly work like at weekends unless I'm like abroad, or I've had the odd event, I think, like on a Saturday or a Sunday, but I pick them very carefully because basically my girls take over my weekends. I keep telling my management, they're like, oh, you know, would you be free to do this? I'm like, oh, going up to Newcastle then, or like, oh, really sorry, going away then, or oh, I'm really sorry. Like, just like, just a warning now, my girls take every weekend. So like this weekend, I've got my friend Eliz coming back she's been living in France for the last 7 months, and we're really excited because she's coming back, and we're throwing her like a surprise party and everything. So yeah, that's taking over my weekend. And then the Sunday I'm like visiting my friends from back home, so because one of my friends has just moved in with her boyfriend, so again my girls take over my weekends. And we do a lot of weekend trips as well, which it makes us look like we're really well traveled, but I'm living by my flatmate's holiday time. So it's like, you know, as much as I could go away whenever I like, and I don't have like a holiday limit, my flatmate does, and she's the person I'm going with. So we literally will leave like, you know, right, she can get out the doors on a Friday, right till we've done like, you know, leaving at, I think we arrived back on the Sunday morning at 3 a.m. once, and she was back in the office at like 8. So we do take the mickey with the going away, but we do it as cheap as chips. So, you know, you can find these places. It just takes a little bit of digging, and I will give all the credit to my flatmate in that case, because she's the one I'm there like, oh my god, I found this and it's like £400, and she's like, I found this for like 50 and it's better than the thing you found. I'm like, how do you do this? She's fantastic. I don't know how she does it, but we go on some amazing holidays purely because of her.
So just to this one as I'm going to ask this one to everyone. It's a little bit off of the path, but what's the weirdest DM you've ever got?
Oh my gosh, I've had a few. I'd probably say it's not specifically a DM. I've had what is that? I get like quite weird emails as well. And I actually did start a thread on like, not a thread, I did a thing on Twitter, which was like a hashtag where it's like, I don't get how much can I bleep stuff out on here?
Just go for it.
It was like, I don't get dick pics, but like that was my thing. Yeah. So it was like, because I really don't get sent that kind of stuff at all, but I get sent the weirdest stuff ever. So like someone has edited what was it, because I wore my hair once in a ponytail, and someone edited and made me bald and just sent it to me. And I was like, why? I do have the picture. And someone has edited and made me the Colonel.
Oh, right.
So like in like animation form was like Kate's food challenges, and I'm just there like, is this like, am I gonna get in trouble for this? I've also been sent, I think it was like an email that was like 2 pages long about, he was there like, it was a very formal email in regards to what it was talking about.
Yeah.
And it was saying like, oh, we see that you do challenges and things like that. And literally it was just there like, would you be interested in a spanking challenge? And it was like, and it went into so much detail, but then it just finished. The thing that made me laugh so much was it's so, you know, it was all in paragraphs. It wasn't like, you know, badly spelt or anything. And then it was like, you know, look forward to hearing from you. Kindest regards, like David or something. And I was like, this is like the most formal anything that I've ever seen. And it was just so funny. So like, I don't get sent like rude pictures or anything like that, but I do get sent some like weird stuff. It's not always, but you know, I'll get the rogue one and I just find them so funny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can I tweet this? Probably not professional.
I'd love to know what the success rate of some of those things are. Just the
I'd say incredibly low.
Yeah.
Like unless they're actually funny, because I do have some good, like I've got some good photoshoppers out there, like on my followers. So like I did a picture, and I did this with intent. So like, you know, when it's like you get a picture and then, you know, you ask the internet, it's like, oh, can you Photoshop this and help me out? I did it when I went to America, and it was like I found a star that was an empty star, and I was like, you know what, I could put my own name in here and think this is funny, but I was like, you know what, I'd actually love to know what they did. I think the best one that I got back from it was someone had edited, because obviously the stars are pink, someone edited Patrick from SpongeBob SquarePants onto this star, and I was like, that is brilliant. I proper burst out loud, like laughing. I was like, this is brilliant. I've also had, when I was like throwing a pineapple up in the air, someone had edited like SpongeBob and Patrick like hanging out with a little door on the pineapple and the little window. And what else? People edit stuff in, and I just find it funny. So, you know, it's not harmful or anything. No one's been rude, but I'm like, this is just funny.
What have you got? What's coming up in the future that people can look out for?
Not too much at the moment. There's something that I've been really, really wanting to do, which is so you know how obviously the Gavin and Stacey episode, you know, like the Christmas special that's coming up, like, and everyone's very excited for it. It's got a lot of hype behind it. You know, when Smithy goes through his Indian order and he's like, you know, I want this and I want this, and it's just like, I don't want to share it, and this, that, the other. I'd love to sit there and do Smithy's order for like the build up of Gavin and Stacey, because I think one, there's obviously a massive hype behind it, and two, I just think that scene is so iconic that everyone would know about it. So I think that would be quite funny. Other than that, I'm just sort of, I actually at the moment I just want to find some more. Because what I realised being abroad is what everyone asks is they're like, you know, what's the best fish and chips? What's the best fry up in London? I'm just there like, I actually don't know. Because you don't, when, you know, it's not like you're in the UK and like they all think we eat fish and chips. They all think we eat pies and things like that. And I mean, sometimes we do, but not all the time. And I was like, I genuinely don't know. So at the moment I'm trying to scout some like really English places so that when people do ask me, I actually have an answer.
Here's a list of the good places you
exactly
can go.
But nothing too like big. There's no like holidays coming up. There's nothing. No, it's more just kind of trying to figure some stuff out. I'll probably do a bit more of it next week when I'm just looking after my parents' dogs, doing not a lot at home. So that's kind of like at the minute. So yeah, nothing too exciting, I'm afraid. Like, I'm not even keeping anything secret. Genuinely, it's just not exciting.
What are the socials that people can find you on?
So it's literally just my name. It's Kate Ovens, and Ovens spelt like the kitchen, so OVENS. I think it's pretty much like Kate Ovens on Facebook, Kate Ovens on YouTube, Kate.Ovens, because I don't know why I didn't get that on Instagram, but never mind. And then Snapchat, which is just my silly one, it's just Covens12, and that's what my friends call me as well. Literally with the 12 as well, not Covens, just Covens12. That's my like silly one. And then on Twitter again, it's just Kate Ovens. So yeah, not very exciting, not out there, but it's OVENS. I literally am one of these people who have to spell out their surnames, because otherwise he's like, oh, Owens. I'm like, nope. Evans, nope. ovens. Yeah, it literally is like how it sounds, because they almost don't think that that's the real one, and I'm like, oh, it's got to be something different. Like, yeah, don't worry, I completely agree with you. This is the weird one.
Well, that's everything.
Amazing.
Thank you very much for this.
No, thank you so much for inviting me on, and thank you for letting me be the first.
Yes.
Like, I hope I've done an okay job at least.
You
I'm
have
sure
done a stellar job.
whoever's second will probably outdo me by far, but that's totally fine. I'm okay with it because I've got no one to be compared to right now, so I feel great.
Well, thank you very much.
No, thank you so much.